everyone, welcome back to Cooking with Countryside. My name is Melissa and today we're going to be making Plum BBQ Kabobs. So it's going to be a kebab with a plum barbecue sauce. So what we're going to need for the barbecue sauce, we're going to need plums from the market, and then we're also going to need apple cider vinegar, soy sauce, ketchup, and brown sugar. So that's all for the sauce. And then for the kebab part of it, this is where you can get a little creative, add what you like, subtract what you don't like. But today we're gonna be using steak, and you can use any kind of protein, cherry tomatoes, because this way, using the cherry tomatoes, you don't have to cut anything, you can just put them right on the kebab, so that's what we like. An onion, and a bell pepper. So to get started, we're going to make the sauce first. Pretty much, we're gonna throw all the ingredients in a blender, so it's gonna go nice and easy for you. So first we're just gonna cut open our plums and take the pits out. And these are nice and ripe. So it's making it nice and easy, which is a bonus. And then you don't have to cut them too small. There's my oven beeping behind me. And also today I'm going to be making the kebabs in the oven just because it's not looking so hot outside. I don't want it to rain on me. We just have a charcoal grill where I live, so I don't want to spend all that time getting the charcoals going and then have it start pouring rain. But this is definitely something you can do either on the grill, a gas grill or a charcoal grill, or in the oven. You're just going to get a little bit of a different flavor if it's on the grill. So these plums are the first thing I'm going to throw in the blender. I will move my blender forward a little bit so you can kind of see. And if anyone watched the previous videos, you may notice that I started with the blender already attached. I've had some trouble in the past to getting the bottom part on, but we're ready to roll today. Okay, so the next thing you're gonna need is about 1/3 of a cup of ketchup. So I don't have 1/3 of a cup measuring, so I'm just gonna use 1/4 plus a little more. Again, this is kind of all to taste, so if you taste the sauce and you say, it needs something, don't be shy. Feel free to add things. The next thing we're gonna add is brown sugar. We're gonna use 1/3 of a cup of brown sugar as well. And the brown sugar, most recipes, you'll see it'll say like packed brown sugar. You don't need to pack it for this, so you can just leave it loose. And then again, that's 1/3 cup ketchup and 1/3 cup brown sugar, or approximately. Okay, the next two ingredients are apple cider vinegar and soy sauce. We're gonna do 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar and 1 teaspoon of soy sauce. And a little side note, it's kind of fruit fly season. So if you did not know this already, apple cider vinegar makes a great fruit fly trap, and there's no chemicals involved. You just put a little bit of apple cider in a jar and then put a little bit of dish liquid on it and then cover it and punch some holes in the top, and then you got a great fruit fly trap. Because you know, you come home from the market and you have all this great stuff sitting on your counter, and then the flies come and you go, oh no. But apple cider vinegar is a great hack if you did not know. So that's everything we need for our plum barbecue sauce. Now I'm just gonna blend it all together. Okay, now that it's all blended together, I'm gonna pour this into a shallow pan on the stove and let it simmer for about 10 minutes. It's gonna get a little bit thicker. That sugar is gonna dissolve into the sauce and it's gonna be mighty tasty. So that's all you have to do for the sauce. Just let it simmer on the stove for 10 minutes. So part 2 of this is assembling the kebabs. So first we're pretty much gonna cut everything up. So like I said earlier, the cherry tomatoes you don't have to worry about cutting up, but if you were to use a different kind of tomato that was a little bit bigger, you could just cut them into bite-sized chunks or like 1-inch cubes. And with the onion, we're not gonna dice it, so that's gonna make things a little bit easier on you. I'm just gonna, I don't know, cut it into 6 sections maybe. Now you have these big chunks of onion, and so when we put them on the kebab, you could either go one at a time, or you'll probably want to go a few at a time, 1 or 2 or 2 or 3 peels at a time. And then you don't have to use the center part if you don't want. You could save that and dice that for later. But we have nice big chunks for you. And that took me maybe 2 seconds to cut. If you're a beginner cook, that's probably the easiest time you'll cut an onion. And same thing with the pepper. We're just gonna cut this into big chunks. So obviously you want to de-seed it. Don't know if that's a word, de-seed, but it sounds like it. And then if you want to be real savvy, you can cut off the ends of the tops to use them, and then just compost the rest of it. And then it would look really pretty if you used a few different color peppers. Today I'm just going to use orange for the purposes of the demonstration, since unfortunately none of you are able to sample this. But one day again we will be back to full market operations, but that is not in the near future, I fear. So again, I'm just cutting these into large-ish chunks. And behind me on the stove, I have the sauce simmering, and you'll want to stir it every now and then just so it doesn't burn on the bottom. But the nice thing about using the plums is it turns out as this like purpley pink sauce, and it's a great color, and that's always a pro tip if you're ever trying to impress someone. Just add a lot of colors to your dish. So we have the cherry tomatoes, onions, and peppers. The last thing we need is our steak, and then we're just going to put them all on a metal kebab skewer. And if you do not have metal skewers and you decide to use wooden, you're gonna need to soak them ahead of time. So probably put them in a bowl of water, make sure they're all covered, and leave them for probably 10 minutes to up to half an hour. You just don't want them to catch on fire. That would be a problem. And like I said before, I'm cooking them in the oven today, so I preheated it to 350, and then I'm just gonna put it on this baking sheet. So I'm actually gonna move this right up here, and it magneted right up to my laptop. That's funny. Okay, so I'm going to spray this. It's not really non-stick. And then I'm gonna start, I need to cut my beef first. I'm getting ahead of myself. So I'm using a sirloin steak for this. But if steak is not your thing, you can use chicken, tofu, any kind of protein really is gonna do the trick. The reason I chose steak is because we don't have a lot of recipes from countryside that use steak. So I wanted to change things up a bit. Mostly because in the market, it's easier to avoid cooking meat, but when we're at home, no problem. So again, I'm just gonna cut these into 1-inch chunks, but you could do them much larger if you would like. And if you are using steak, the same rules apply to like medium well, rare, however you would like them cooked. You're just gonna have to check your oven or on the grill, you're just gonna have to keep checking them. But you can definitely cook it to the tenderness that you would like. And I can smell that sauce cooking. Okay, I'm gonna stop there. So now you have your skewer, and you can just go to town, any order of things, just put them right on. And these skewers I have are actually quite large, so the amount that mine make and that I can fit on one skewer is probably going to be different than yours, and that's absolutely okay. And we are not going to put the sauce on right away, we're going to put that on at the end. Ah! Losing the onions. Okay, so there we go, beautiful skewer. I'm just gonna repeat that process a few times with all the other ones. So our kebabs are all skewered up. This made about 6 kebabs, so they're the large kebabs, so keep that in mind. I'm gonna put it in the oven at 350 degrees for probably about 20 to 30 minutes. I'm going to turn them at 10 minutes, so I'm just gonna flip them over. And then you can, like I said before, you can check to see how well your meat is done and do that according to your preferences. I just spring a little bit of oil on top so we get a nice brown. So our kebabs are out of the oven and they're all cooked. So the last thing we need to do is just drizzle the sauce on top. So you have an option here to drizzle it on and then cook it a little bit longer. But if the sauce is already hot, you don't need to really worry about heating it up. And then this is the last dip, and then they are ready to serve. So thank you for watching. If you're interested in learning about how you can get these fresh ingredients from your local farmers to make this kebab, and this is a great recipe to make with kids too, if you have any children in your life, you can visit countrysidefoodandfarms.org. Thank you.